My childhood friend stole my marine biology research and became famous. Now that his career is sinking, he's begging me for a position. I'm 35, a marine biologist running my own research consultancy off the coast of Maine. We're not Cousteau-level famous, but we've built a solid reputation, attracting clients, publishing research, and maintaining scientific integrity in everything we do. But 3 years ago, my life was completely different. I wasn't just a scientist with a business. I was a dreamer with a revolutionary idea and a best friend I thought I could trust with anything. Let's call him Marcus. We grew up together in a small coastal town, bonded over tide pools and marine specimens, and somehow that friendship survived through graduate school. We shared a vision: develop groundbreaking research on coral reef restoration that could transform marine conservation efforts worldwide. We worked tirelessly on a proprietary method that, if proven successful, could rehabilitate dying coral systems in half the time of conventional approaches. Our research was unlike anything in the field, a blend of biochemistry and ecological engineering that promised to be our legacy in marine science. Or at least that's what I believed. One evening, we were working at my coastal lab, fine-tuning our methodology and documenting results. The atmosphere was nostalgic, reminiscent of our days as students. I stepped out to pick up dinner from the local seafood joint, leaving my research computer unlocked. Why wouldn't I? Marcus had access to everything. We were partners. Upon returning, the lab was empty. Marcus had left, which seemed harmless enough at the time. The next morning, when I powered up my computer, I discovered everything was gone. Our research data, methodology documentation, experimental results. Years of painstaking work had vanished. Even my cloud backups had been compromised. Panic quickly turned to suspicion. Marcus wasn't answering calls or messages. That sinking feeling in my gut knew the truth before my mind could accept it. 3 days later, confirmation arrived in my inbox. Not a personal call or meeting, just a cold, calculated email. Marcus informed me he was pursuing the coral restoration project independently. He had filed the methodology under his name alone, established his own marine conservation foundation, and effectively erased my contribution from existence. The thoroughness of his betrayal was staggering. He'd meticulously removed every digital trace connecting me to our research. I had no proof, no recourse. The legal advisors I consulted confirmed what I already knew. Without evidence, I had no case. I watched helplessly as Marcus became the darling of the conservation world. National Geographic features, TED Talks, major grant announcements. He positioned himself as the brilliant mind behind this breakthrough restoration technique. All while I struggled to rebuild from nothing, knowing I'd created half of what he was showcasing to the world. Those months were the darkest of my career. Starting over felt impossible, but I forced myself back into research. I developed a new approach, different enough to avoid any accusations of copying his work, yet built on my genuine expertise. Gradually, my consultancy began to take shape. We secured small projects, then larger ones. We built a reputation for excellence and integrity. Throughout this rebuilding period, each new accolade Marcus received felt like salt in an open wound. His foundation expanded internationally, attracting millions in funding from environmental philanthropists who believed they were supporting a visionary, but scientific work requires more than charisma. About 2 years after his betrayal, rumors circulated that Marcus's foundation was struggling. The restoration technique wasn't yielding the promised results in different marine environments. Major funders were withdrawing support after expeditions failed to reproduce the initial successes. The organization he'd built on stolen research was dissolving beneath him. Then came the email I never expected. Marcus wanted a job at my consultancy. The audacity was breathtaking. This man had stolen my life's work, claimed it as his own, and now wanted me to provide him sanctuary from his failing career. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him. Something in me needed closure, or perhaps I just wanted to see him humbled. We met at a quiet harborside cafe. Marcus entered looking weathered beyond his years, the confident swagger replaced by nervous hesitation. He couldn't maintain eye contact as he slid into the seat across from me. I didn't speak first. I wanted him to fill the silence with whatever justification he'd prepared. "I've been doing a lot of reflecting," he finally began, staring into his mug. "What happened between us? I made a terrible mistake. I'm truly sorry." His apology sounded rehearsed, hollow. I remained silent, letting the weight of our history hang between us. "The foundation," he continued, fidgeting with a packet of sugar. "Things fell apart. The methodology had complications I couldn't resolve alone. I've exhausted all options, and I thought perhaps we could move past this. Maybe I could join your team, help build something together again." The absurdity of his request nearly made me laugh. "You expect me to hire you after what you did?" Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Look, there was tremendous pressure from potential funders. They wanted results immediately, and I saw an opportunity that couldn't wait. I made a business decision." "A business decision?" My voice remained calm, though my hands had tightened around my cup. "You stole years of my research, erased my name from our work, and now you call it a business decision?" His demeanor changed suddenly, defensive anger replacing contrition. "You weren't ready to take it public. You were too cautious, too obsessed with more testing. Do you know what we could have accomplished if you hadn't held us back? I created something real with that research." "You created nothing," I said evenly. "You took what we built together and pretended it was yours alone. And now that it's failing, you want me to rescue you." Marcus leaned forward, his voice hardening. "You think you're so righteous. I gave our work the platform it deserved. Without me, it would still be sitting in your lab, untested and unknown." I stood up, having heard enough. "I don't owe you anything, Marcus. Not a job, not forgiveness, nothing." As I turned to leave, he caught my arm, his expression darkening. "You'll regret this. I'll make sure everyone knows you're trying to steal my research now." I looked down at his hand until he released me. "Try it," I said quietly, then walked away. His threat lingered in my mind for days afterward. I knew Marcus was desperate, and desperate people are dangerous. Something told me to be prepared, so I'd recorded our entire conversation on my phone, not knowing if I'd need it, but unwilling to be caught off guard again. Within weeks, Marcus began his campaign. He contacted marine conservation organizations, potential clients, even my research partners, claiming I had stolen his methodology and was using it as the foundation for my business. He crafted a narrative where he was the victim, not the perpetrator. That's when I decided to act. I consulted with an attorney, presenting the recording and laying out the entire history. The evidence was unambiguous. Marcus's own words confirmed he had taken our joint research and claimed sole ownership, then threatened me when I wouldn't rescue his failing career. We filed a lawsuit for intellectual property theft, defamation, and harassment. In court, Marcus's confident facade crumbled as the recording played. His admission that I was too cautious, too obsessed with more testing, revealed the truth. I had been involved in the research he claimed was solely his creation. The court ruled decisively in my favor, but the case opened a larger investigation into Marcus's foundation. Financial irregularities emerged, grant money allocated for fieldwork that never happened, equipment purchases that couldn't be accounted for, fabricated research results to secure additional funding. What began as theft of my work had evolved into systematic fraud. Marcus now faces multiple federal charges related to research fraud and misappropriation of grant funds. His reputation in the scientific community is irreparably damaged. Meanwhile, my consultancy has flourished. We've pioneered legitimate advances in coral restoration, properly tested and peer-reviewed. Our methods are being implemented in marine protected areas across 3 continents. We've built something authentic and lasting, not on stolen ideas, but on persistent, rigorous science. Betrayal leaves scars that never fully heal, but it didn't define my career or my life. I rebuilt what was taken from me and created something better, something with integrity at its core. The person who wronged me eventually faced consequences not because I sought revenge, but because dishonesty, in science as in life, eventually reveals itself. If you've faced similar betrayals in your professional life, remember that rebuilding with integrity always outperforms short-term theft of others' work. Focus on creating your legacy the right way, and justice often finds its course. If you enjoyed this story of justice prevailing, hit that subscribe button for more tales of perseverance and redemption.